Hi guys, so coming from Rise and Phoenix Production, Sophia Tammin and I are here to talk about question 4, which is how do we use media technology in the construction and research, planning and evaluation stages in our overall process?
So we had different parts to play. I was the director and the editor, and therefore we used a lot of different technologies. I focused mainly on Final Cut, Motion, and used Photoshop as well. Whereas Aisha is the cinematographer.
And cinematography is all about focusing on the visual effect, and that concerns like mood board and like how all of our main products would look overall. So I would focus on PowerPoint. I would also focus on Photoshop, there were difficulties, but we came through it.
Talking about difficulties, there were, obviously it was the first time I'd ever used Motion. In AS I'd never got to use it, so I had to look at many YouTube tutorials and online blogs that helped me to figure out how to use it, and once I got the hang of it, it was really easy and overall made our logo a lot more effective because it was an actual moving
The
graphic.
difficulty I found was on Photoshop making the film review, as I'm so used to presentations on PowerPoint and I'm very familiar with the tools on PowerPoint. It was kind of difficult from the shift from literally PowerPoint to Photoshop, using the new tools, making sure everything's more precise and accurate. It was quite difficult, but in the end I was able to pull through it and make sure it looks professional.
Yeah, I think that we both got to play around with a lot more advanced software than what we're used to, you know, not Microsoft Word and PowerPoint.
Yeah.
We developed a Photoshop, Final
In
Cut.
contrast to last year, in our research process, we made stuff like YouTube accounts, Twitter accounts and Insta page to keep people updated with what we're doing, and we thought that was a good use of media technology, as it kind of shows that we are professional. Although we're new into the production industry, we are still coming in.
Initially, we mainly researched on Google, and for docudramas in particular, we looked at the wiki pages, seeing what qualified as a docudrama, what were the significant differences between a documentary and a drama, and then how they link. And I think that this was useful further on in the process, because then we got, with the codes and conventions, it was clear for us what we needed to adhere to and what we needed to abide by in order to make our short film successful, and so that it would fit into its genre.
In comparison to our production this year, last year we did not use anything that was near enough professional for our headshots. We used a mobile phone and the background wasn't professional either. However, this year
we used professional photo lighting equipment. We had the reflectors so we could get a beautiful shot, and the quality exceeded our expectations. I found that getting to experiment with the camera in this way, with the tripod as well, helped us during filming, because later on there were angles and lighting formalities that we got ourselves familiar with, which we found very. We also found other presentation software, specifically online free software, that would help us present our work in a different and creative ways. So for instance, we found Visme and Emaze, and there were so many others. Powtoon. Scribd was another way that we could display our documents, so that it wasn't just Word documents or screenshots and images. And this created a professional looking blog that shows a bit of our creativity.
However, Word documents were very useful when it came to the filming schedules, as in order for us to make sure our actors are clear on what they need to do, having a film schedule laid out in columns would make it easier for them to know what scene comes after what, so they know when to prepare for the next moment. So they were very helpful for us.
Also the script, it was common sense that it had to be done on Word, so that it was clear and easy to read, especially for the voiceover. We had a lovely year 9 girl doing the voiceover for us, and it was important that we had the sections that clearly she had to distinguished with different colours, so she knew that which part to say when, and which paragraphs to say in what order.
Yeah, Microsoft Word is also very useful in terms of keeping it simple and making sure that there are elements in our blog that is just basic, just so the cast members can understand it, and we don't need anything.
So I also used a lot of screen recording on QuickTime Player when I was making the logos, when I was making the film, poster, review, just so it's a kind of quick, fun and effective way to show what I'm doing. I then would speed this up in Final Cut, put some music on it, And we tended to use royalty-free music, and if there was music, there was copyright, we'd speed it up, manipulate it, and I found this really exciting, as we could make quick and snappy videos that would hopefully even help other people as well as demonstrate.
We also found it helpful to do the screen recordings, especially for me when doing my screen recording for my film review, as I'm still getting used to using these advanced tools. I also found that in order for me to make sure I know what I'm doing, I'd look on YouTube tutorials prior and research and planning stages, just so when I upload my one and when Sophia uploads her one, as she said, it kind of can come across as a tutorial, so when other people look at it, they'll be like, okay, we will know how to do that and when to do it.
Yeah, I think we worked really well in terms of we kind of helped each other with what we lack. You know, I'm quite confident with editing, and if Aisha was going to experiment and try and edit something on her own, like a short video or a vlog, I'd always be there to help her and she'd help me. I think the key component of what brings our whole film together was the voiceover, because without that, even from target audience feedback, it was clear that, you know, you can understand. We used a Tascam voice recorder, and it was pretty old school, pretty basic, easy to use, but we found that when I would then upload it to Final Cut, I'd use voiceover enhancement, I would exaggerate the voiceover and take away the background sounds, and it just made the whole thing extremely effective.
In order for us to know that Tascam was the right direction for us to go in terms of voice recorder, we figured out that in the research and planning stages, when watching other films that are similar to our genre, like documentary or drama, or even docudrama, when they did use voiceovers, it was clear, it was sharp, and we could hear the emotions in their voice. It would be poor if we was to use, for example, an iPhone, as it wouldn't be as clear and you wouldn't be able to pick out the noise in the background. Whereas a Tascam, you can break that up whilst using Final Cut Pro, like Sophia did. But if we did not do that research in the research and planning stages, it kind of would have been difficult. We may have had to use a mobile phone without that research that
I
we've
would
done.
probably say that using the tripod was something that proved a bit difficult at times, because the levels and getting the right angles, I normally like holding the camera in like freehand, but I found that I had quite shaky hands, so I definitely needed the tripod. So I found that sometimes it wouldn't get as short as to how I wanted it, so I'd literally have to get myself right down on the floor to get the perfect shot, but it proved worth it, and I think with practice it got a lot easier and made a great outcome.
I also feel like overall, all the media technology that we have used has had a huge impact on both of our blogs. If it wasn't for stuff like Prezi, Emaze, Visme, other documents, even YouTube interviews, our blog wouldn't be as great because it just wouldn't have had the research in detail that we need. Even SurveyMonkey was even a good one.
Yeah, because we could send it to the whole school.
Yeah, for when we couldn't actually get in touch with people due to timing and schedules. If we can just email people through, for example, the school email, or like just other emails, just email them our questionnaire, they could just answer it for us and we can just literally respond to it. And yeah, like all the documents that we have used, all the different technology we have used has had a huge impact on our blog and made it
all
very
these
efficient.
media technologies are going to really help, because new cameras keep improving. Even from last year to this year, we had a better camera, we had better equipment, online software like Emaze, Prezi, and all of that can be used for presentations to do with anything, and they're a really creative and organised way of showing, you know, good quality work.
Yeah, even us that are learning, the fact that we're doing screen recording, for example, the fact that we can upload that onto our YouTube channel and other people can access that, look at that and learn from that and go and do the same thing, that doesn't only give us recognition but also educates them, as well as allowing us to educate ourselves as time is going on. So if that continues over the years, the media world is going to improve.
Yeah, I definitely think through all our stages, research, planning, construction and our evaluation, we've used such a big variety, because we didn't want to be boring, we didn't want to just write text or upload Word documents. We use such a wide range, and I think that this has proved useful to us, as you know, we got to broaden our skill set and expand our knowledge, but also I think to the examiner marking, it's also a much more interesting and less boring and mundane way of seeing our work and viewing our work. I also think that Powtoon sticks in your mind and you remember what the person's actually saying a lot more than a long Word document.